Friends, it's my proud privilege to introduce guest speaker for the evening, Mr. G. Krishnan. Mr. Krishnan, born and brought up in Chennai, after completing his education, moved to Bangalore. After completing his education, moved to Bangalore in 1999 to start his sports journalism career. He started off his career with Deccan Herald and served with them for more than 6 years. In 2005, he left Bangalore for Mumbai. In Mumbai, he worked for Hindustan Times and then DNA, riding up the ranks to become the assistant editor. Currently, an independent journalist specialized in covering cricket widely in the country and overseas. He followed Royal Challengers Bangalore in the entire IPL 2008 season and also traveled to South Africa for the IPL 2009 season. He has been regularly following cricket across the globe and has some strong opinions on certain aspects of the game. He is happily married and settled down in Mumbai with his better half, and they are blessed with a son. With this brief introduction, I present to you our guest speaker, Mr. G. Krishnan. Welcome, Mr. G. Krishnan. Over to you, President. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All yours, Krishnan ji.
Yeah, okay. So, good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to be a part of your fortnight meeting, and so we are here to talk about IPL. And who doesn't like to talk about cricket, and who doesn't like to talk about Indian Premier League? So usually the IPL happens in the months of March to May. So the children will all be looking forward to IPL, enjoy the tamasha, the cricket, the action, see the stars during their summer vacation, or even go to matches, go to the stadiums and see the matches. But this time it has been a different experience to everyone. And this time initially there was this doubt if IPL will happen at all, if because of this pandemic that we are all going through, and trying to overcome this pandemic and trying to fight out this coronavirus. So there was this doubt if IPL would happen at all in 2020. But once the International Cricket Council cancelled for the year their scheduled World T20 to be held in Australia in October, November, that was when that IPL was going to happen, because that was the only window where the BCCI, the Board of Control for Cricket in India, could squeeze in the IPL because of the already laid out other international programs and fixtures. So from what we were facing, whether IPL 2020 would happen at all, if at all, where would it happen, when would it happen? Now the doubt is clear, and we are already into the 5th match of the 13th edition of Indian Premier League. So this IPL happening in the United Arab Emirates at the 3 cities of Dubai, Sharjah, and Abu Dhabi is the second IPL to be held overseas. By that I mean the entire IPL being held out of India. The first one being in South Africa in 2009. That was because of the general elections coinciding with the IPL, and the security couldn't be provided for these matches. So it was a wonderful experience being a part of the IPL in South Africa. That said, UAE has also hosted the IPL, though in part in 2014 when when they held the IPL for the first 2 weeks, numbering about 20 matches, before the matches shifted to India. And that again was in 2014, so coinciding with the general elections in the country. And now 2019 and 2020, and now we are now having IPL in UAE. But anyway, it's the fans must be glad that IPL is actually happening, and to see their stars, to see their cricket stars in action after about a 6-month drought, if I can say, 6 months being away from cricketing action. The last action that happened in Indian cricket was the Ranji Trophy in March first half. That was Saurashtra winning the final against Bengal. So I'm sure most of you must be delighted that Gujarat's heart of Gujarat, which is Saurashtra, won the Ranji Trophy title this year. So anyway, so that's this thing. So far, 4 matches have happened. Fifth one is going on. Today's match between 4-time champions Mumbai Indians and 2-time champions Kolkata Knight Riders. Today's match, it's very difficult to say who is going to win, or because T20 is such a game that anything can happen any moment. Say a lucky edge to a 4, or the batsman edging to the stumps, or anything can happen in T20. So one can't just be sure. But records say that Mumbai Indians have an edge over Kolkata Knight Riders, not by just a marginal difference, but by a huge difference of going by past records. Mumbai Indians have won 19 out of their 26 matches against Kolkata Knight Riders. But we have seen that history, of course, there is a saying, history repeats itself. But then in cricket, especially in T20 cricket, we can just take confidence from past records, but can't really dwell on that and say for sure that okay, Mumbai Indians are going to win today. Okay, anyway, that said, we have had all sorts of action in the first 4 matches this IPL, starting from Chennai Super Kings versus Mumbai Indians, going through the super over in the second game, and the third game probably was a one-sided game, if one can say, going by by RCB winning against Sunrisers Hyderabad. And yesterday was, of course, Sanju Samson turned the match in Rajasthan Royals' favor with his 6-hitting abilities. So this IPL already we have seen an exciting tie going into the super over, though the super over turned out to be a sham, if one can say, with just 2 runs being scored, which is probably the lowest ever score being scored in a super over, and 2 wickets lost. But there was an interesting point in that match between the Delhi Capitals and Kings 11 Punjab, and most of you would have seen the umpire Nitin Menon wrongly giving a one shot in the penultimate over of the run chase that Punjab team was in pursuit of. So many, most of them would have blamed Nitin Menon, the umpire, for his wrong call. But here, is it fair to say that umpire Nitin Menon was really on the wrong side of the decision making? So what happens is the umpire, in this case Nitin Menon, was at the striker's end, standing at the square leg position. Usually, what we have seen and what is required for the umpire is that the umpire stands in line with the crease. Here, the popping crease, so he's in the best position to give his line decisions. Say for a run out or a stump, or in this case, whether the batsman has actually grounded his bat inside the crease and not really taking advantage of, and it ends up in a one shot. So, as after the advent of the television cameras and the cameras actually being referred, or the television being referred to the line decisions, the rules clearly state, or the ICC, the International Cricket Council, clearly state that the umpire should be standing on either the left side or the right side of the line, so that he doesn't block the view of the camera, which is positioned right outside the boundary line, in line with the crease. So the umpire is not in a straight line, so he cannot make his decisions right. So that is why we often see that even for a blatant, clear case of a batsman very well inside the crease, or a clear case of a batsman very well outside the crease, which the decisions could be made easily by the naked eye. The umpires just take the easy way out of referring to the third umpire for line decisions. Of course, close calls, one cannot fault the umpires for referring the third umpire, but this has become a practice. And perhaps to be sure that they don't make any mistakes, the umpires refer to it. But when it came to this particular instance where Mayank Agarwal was beautifully going about the run chase for Kings 11 Punjab, and he had his partner Chris Jordan. So they ran for a couple, and it so happened that Chris Jordan was found short of his crease by umpire Nitin Menon. But though the television replays said that he had clearly grounded his bat, but the position that the umpire was in this case, he was to the left of the popping crease. He could not have seen clearly if the bat had been grounded or not. So he thought that the bat was not grounded, and immediately he called for one shot. So this changed the entire result of the game, that had it not been called one shot, Kings 11 would have won by easily, say, 4 wickets or 6 wickets, as the case was. But then it so happened that Agarwal became out in the penultimate ball and of the 20th over, and Chris Jordan became out, so it went to the super overs. Anyway, so it's all part and parcel. But the thing is, the rules state that the umpire is supposed to stand, not blocking the line of the cameras. But that, keeping apart the umpires, we have had excellent action this season, right from, say, Ambati Rayudu. A lot has been spoken about Ambati Rayudu, who was very unlucky to have missed the World Cup berth last year. Leading up to the World Cup in 2019, Ambati Rayudu was India's preferred number 4 batsman. But at the last, and as we saw, Rayudu was persisted with at that position in the lead up to the World Cup 2019. But when it came to the final selection of the 15 for the World Cup, Rayudu was dropped, saying that the selector saying that they wanted a 3-dimensional player and chose Vijay Shankar of Tamil Nadu for that. But Rayudu has shown that he has not lost touch with batting, and he beautifully played that match-winning knock for CSK against Mumbai Indians, giving Mumbai Indians their 8th consecutive defeat in their opening match of an IPL season. That's a record which is not to be proud of, but I'm sure Mumbai Indians will not mind that, because from 2013 they have won 4 IPL titles, and all those IPL titles have come despite them losing their opening match. So probably Mumbai Indians will take it as a positive sign, and maybe say, okay, maybe for them history repeats as far as the title winning option is concerned. But in CSK, we all know they lost last night. It was thanks to Sanju Samson and his 6-hitting abilities. Sanju Samson is another player who has been in and out. He made his comeback into the international arena last year, and being selected for the T20s against Sri Lanka at home. He's the kind of player who can who can get into any team. For his, of course, we have seen his wicket-keeping abilities, and he's not any less compared to any of the other regular wicket-keepers. And we have seen how cleanly he strikes the ball. And yesterday, some of the shots just went out of the stadium over the roof, and it was 6 in any ground. Even if you consider Melbourne Cricket Ground being probably the largest ground in the world. But the problem with Sanju Samson is, as we have seen, even of course, he can open the batting, he can bat anywhere in the middle or even in the top order. The thing is, he goes for the shots right from the first ball. I remember there was this T20 international in Pune last year against Sri Lanka, which was his comeback match, and he was given a chance to prove himself, his selection. But first of all, he played a beautiful shot for a 6, and repeated the same stroke in the second ball, only to be out. This he also did in the T20s in New Zealand earlier this year. So that is the problem with Sanju Samson. and not only Sanju Samson, but with most of the batsmen, like we saw in the match against in the match between Delhi Capitals and Kings 11 Punjab. We all know that if you look at both the teams, the teams are packed with stroke players. They can play their shots right from the first ball, and that has often been a cause for their downfall. Like say Prithvi Shaw, we all know how attacking a batsman he can be. He has scored a century on his Test debut. That was way back in 2018. We know how aggressive Rishabh Pant can be, Shreyas Iyer, and if you look at the Kings 11 Punjab side, you have right from KL Rahul, Mayank Agarwal, Karun Nair, and a whole lot of a couple of other foreign players. So that the problem with these players is that they tend to go for the shots right from the first ball. For them, they think that the ball is there to be hit, and of course the ball is there to be hit, but you have to also apply yourself and play sensibly according to the situation, which most of these batsmen probably they get carried away because of the format, that they go for sixes every ball and eventually lose their wicket. So this is where Mayank Agarwal, this is where you need players of say like what Mayank Agarwal did. He also likes to call himself an attacking batsman, an aggressive batsman who likes to play his shots. But you need to play according to the situation. Which say, for example, Rishabh Pant and Shreyas Iyer in their Delhi Capitals knock, they were going through a good part. They were going through a good partnership, 50+ runs. Then Rishabh fell to a bad shot, which is typical of his style. And the next over, Shreyas Iyer also holed out in the deep. So what was the need for somebody like a captain to throw away his wicket in such crucial junctures? And this is the case with Shreyas Iyer, which he is known to do it in the past, even for Mumbai in the Ranji Trophy matches or for his franchisee teams. But I hope they improve, they learn from their mistakes and play responsibly according to the situations and not just throw away wickets. We also seen some fantastic fielding, some fantastic catches. Though people were talk about Faf du Plessis taking those 2 catches in the deep in the first match, one juggling as the ball was as he lost balance and was crossing over the boundary line, which has become a common feature nowadays with catches in the deep. And even players do practice these kind of catches in their net sessions, so they know how to. They are ready when such catches come, and they don't fall over the line with the ball in hand. And we have also seen some fantastic bowling performances, like Sam Curran. Even though he took 1 wicket, it was a crucial breakthrough that he gave for Chennai against Mumbai Indians. Or Piyush Chawla, who usually bowls really well, except for him, and also they also have an off day like he had against RR yesterday. Mohammad Shami, of course, one of the best bowlers in the country. So, and of course, Yuzvinder Chahal, who bamboozled the 3D player Vijay Shankar, who failed to read his googly and was bowled first ball. So we have had a mix of a variety of actions so far, and the thing is, the stars are yet to deliver in this IPL. Virat Kohli, Shikhar Dhawan, Rohit Sharma, which I'm sure Rohit Sharma is in form now. He's batting on 41 against Kolkata Knight Riders. That said, Rohit always loves playing against KKR, or one of his favorite grounds is Kolkata. Though this match is not happening in Kolkata, but he loves playing Kolkata. And he has a good record against KKR, and he's batting on 41 out of 27. So probably Rohit is finding his form, and hope he continues this way. Dhoni. One wonders why Dhoni came so late in the order against Mumbai Indians in the first match, and also yesterday when probably he could have gone ahead of say Sam Curran or Ravindra Jadeja and tried to make a match out of the challenging total that Rajasthan Royals posted yesterday. 216 or 217 that Chennai Super Kings needed to win. But the point that Dhoni makes, that he goes lower down the order, is this being the early part of the IPL season, and he wants the other players, usually Jadeja and Sam Curran, whom he looks as probably the tailenders who can throw their bat and score some quick runs. He wants them to get batting time in the middle, so that they are not exposed when they are faced with similar situation later in the tournament or in crunch situations. So probably he is taking his chances. We know what Dhoni is capable of doing. We don't have to go much into what Dhoni can do and cannot do. But there is also this point that why is he coming so late, and why is he not striking the ball? And if you look at yesterday's, when they needed so much runs with very few balls, people would say, okay, Dhoni is a great finisher and he could finish off matches. He calculates the runs needed in the end overs, and he calculates in his mind before entering the crease and plays it executes his plans. But looking at him scoring only 7 runs in his first 11 or 12 balls, probably one can assume that Dhoni has accepted defeat even before it actually, even before the last ball is bowled, which people some say that he could have taken his chances and gone for a victory in his last ODI, which was the semi-final of the 2019 World Cup against New Zealand. But how much can even Dhoni do? Of course, yesterday you had Faf du Plessis scoring those runs. Though the sixes came late in the innings, they do not have the kind of start or the kind of partnership that, say, Rajasthan Royals had yesterday. So these are the things that that needs to be looked at, and of course, Dhoni being Dhoni and knowing what he is capable of. He also has his limited resources in his armory with the exit of Suresh Raina before the start of IPL, or the unavailability of Dwayne Bravo, one of the top all-rounders, because of injury. So he has to just marshal his resources with his available, with whatever is available. So that said, yeah. So it is an extremely different experience for the players to be playing in front of empty stadiums. They are all known to, of course, in Ranji Trophy you hardly get any spectator watching matches, and the crowds are dwindling in Test cricket nowadays in India, except for, say, Australia or England, which. In England, it's not, the grounds are not as at least the stands are not as much as we have in India. But yeah, so it's an experience. It's a different experience for the players to play in front of empty stadium. But this is how we have to get used to. This is how they have to be getting used to playing in front of empty stadiums now with the pandemic going on. And yeah, so much for this. But the players will also, especially the Indian players, will be looking at this IPL as a sort of preparation, getting into the proper match practice before going for the all-important tour of Australia later this year, which is in November. So they have about four test matches to play, and they are coming off a 6-month layoff and getting into action, getting into the groove. Batsmen need to get into the rhythm, bowlers get into the rhythm. So probably the test players will look at this IPL as a sort of practice, getting into match practice for the series against Australia. But one person we have to consider who is not playing IPL, or who is not considered for IPL the last couple of years, is our test specialist Cheteshwar Pujara. And what a season he had when India toured last time to Australia, and was a major factor in India's first ever test series win in Australia. So Pujara is not in IPL. He doesn't figure in any of the franchise's scheme of things. But he is known, knowing that Pujara he works hard, he trains hard, and doesn't leave anything to chance. He has been working hard, practicing in his hometown Rajkot with his team of players who, because it is lockdown, he gets to face only about 9-10 bowlers in the nets. Otherwise, it would have been about 20-25 bowlers bowling at him. So that's the kind of variety that he does and gets the kind of practice that he gets. So this is for IPL in Dubai. We have seen that the teams that are winning the toss this IPL so far have opted to bowl first, and the reason is the dew factor that later comes into picture, and the bowlers not being able to grip the ball properly, and so on and so forth. So since it is only at 3 venues, and the pitches will be used again and again. So at least there are about 4 or 5 strips at a particular venue, and each pitch being used for about, say, minimum 4 to 5 matches. There will be wear and tear to the extent that you can consider it like how it happens in a test match. Start of the day, fresh wicket, fast bowlers exploiting it. Then as the match wears on, the batsmen coming into picture. And towards the end, the days 4 and 5, you have spinners coming to the fore. So one could expect similar conditions in the UAE in IPL with the pitches getting slower in the lower in the latter stages of the league, and so it could become low scoring ones. But low scoring ones also produce exciting finishes. Say to a score of, say, 80, 90, or even 120, 125 is not easily chased by the team batting second. So all in all, it's going to be exciting, and I hope you all enjoy IPL. I don't know how much of you follow that keenly IPL, but I'm sure you're all following IPL and will go to Wankhede and be part of that Mumbai Paltan whenever matches happen here. But yeah, so at least cricket is back after the lockdown. The world is slowly opening up. Sporting action is gradually resuming. Not just cricket, but we have been having European football, NBA, tennis, and all sorts of things. So we hope we have a good sporting extravaganza ahead of us, and yeah, enjoy sport. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. It was all our pleasure.
All of you take care and stay safe. Thank you very much once again.
Definitely. Thank you, Krishnanji. Krishnanji, I've got some interesting questions for you.
Okay.
My friends in the club would like to know why Dubai? Why specifically Dubai was selected?
I believe it had to be out of India, or even in India. Where would you have it? With the growing cases of corona, who will have it? So probably UAE was the best option, and even the kind of the quarantine rules and regulations that UAE have. For instance, I believe that the BCCI made it mandatory that they have 3 COVID tests as soon as the teams reached Dubai. But what I understand is you have as you enter Dubai, you only have to you should not test positive, and if you test negative on arrival, or they have this gun, the thermo, with what they test check the temperature on arrival, or this oximeter, which if they are fine, then think they are allowed to go in enter the city. So probably the quarantine rules are better than most cases, where I believe in India, if you enter, you have to have 1 week of quarantine, 1 week of isolation, plus 1 week of home isolation. That makes it 2 weeks. So probably the visiting players, the foreign players for each team, they don't have to go through this mandatory. They don't have to wait long before they get into action.
Right.
So what I understand is Sam Curran, who was involved in the England versus or the England players who were involved in the England Australia players who were in international action till last week. Say 15th or 16th, they played their last ODI in England. They arrived, and Sam Curran played his first match on 19th of this one. So these kind of quarantine rules probably were favoring UAE as the destination for IPL.
I have one more question. If IPL was cancelled, what was the revenue loss? You can answer this in a very generalized way, sir.
I am. It is immense. I won't be able to know how in terms of revenue each one, but it's all it's immense. So I don't know. It's a huge loss. It's a huge revenue because all this sponsorship rights, all these contracts with the broadcasters, so BCCI tends to lose on a lot of money.
Right.
So we all know that IPL has brought in so much money that the BCCI has also given pensions to players, which was not the case before IPL. So it's a huge. It must have been a huge loss. So probably that is why they were looking at some window in the year, and when ICC decided to cancel the World T20 World Cup for this year in Australia, then IPL was in. So yeah, so
it's a huge
must have been
money.
huge money. Yes.
Krishanji,
I know that IPL brings in lots of money, so it's so much that is lost.
definitely. Krishanji, I have a question. Does Indian government get any tax benefit if IPL is done in Dubai?
I'm sure there will be some tax benefit. There must be an understanding between the government and the board. So there must be some tax benefits.
Government itna revenue chhodega.
So probably some understanding the government and the board must have come to.
Right. And sir, finally, a last question is from our club secretary Sapnesh Nima. So, what must be the reason that Dhoni came back for the IPL?
There was never a question of Dhoni coming back. He was always part of IPL. He was always part of Chennai Super Kings. It is just that he has retired from international cricket. So that means Test cricket. Anyway, he retired in 2014-15. He was available for limited overs. He last played the World Cup. Then he made himself unavailable. So there was this question mark over his future as far as international cricket is concerned. But IPL is not an international cricket, though the international international players are participating. It is still a domestic cricket. It is a franchisee cricket. Okay. So it is not that Dhoni was coming back. Of course, he was coming into action after the 437 days. So much was being made about that. Anyway, the last he played was in 2019 World Cup semi-final. And after that, he has not been playing. So that in that case, it is a return to action for MS Dhoni, but he was never out of IPL or out of Chennai Super Kings. So he's always part of.
Correct.
That. So that way, he still continues to play and continues to probably his fans continue to derive joy out of watching him in action in some tournament or the other. So not the international.
Siddharth, one question from me.
Match.
Siddharth,
by 3 6s.
Sorry?
I was waiting to see Dhoni in action in yesterday's match.
Yes.
But I was satisfied by the 3 6s.
Right. Even my mother, who was a big fan of Dhoni, said, though Dhoni hit sixes, his sixes came in late, they were huge. But then what difference did it make in the end result? Those sixes should have come early in the innings, or should have been hit by somebody else higher up the order, than coming so late in the order that anyway it's a lost cause, and even RR would not have minded giving away those 2-3 sixes to Dhoni, as long as they knew that the match was in their hands. So.
Siddharth, one question from my side.
Vijay
was saying something.
Siddharth, one question.
Yeah.
One question from Mr. Krishnan. Mr. Krishnan,
yes.
one very personal question to you. Does the BCCI takes care of the sports journalists who are covering these IPL matches?
No, to tell you, this IPL, there is no accreditation for Indian journalists. They have only accredited local journalists who are in UAE, who are in Dubai, watching those matches. So again, it's a question of the newspaper organization sending reporters out to cover those matches. So it's all about and considering that the situations the newspaper industries are in today, we see a lot of people being asked to leave jobs, asked to go, asked to know, and there is a lot of cost cutting, and some papers are shutting down print editions. So it is all a matter of money and how much for this 3-hour match.
I saw
3-hour match. It's not worth sending journalists all over to Dubai and cover these matches. So they all look at the finance part of it. So yeah, that's how it is. But of course, to answer you, the BCCI taking care of journalists. Journalists are on our own, except that when we go to cover matches at the stadium, we are provided whatever refreshments. We are provided a press box to sit and cover and watch matches. Like say the commentators given a box to sit and cover their matches. We also have work to do there, and we also have work to do. So we send our reports, and so it's a working atmosphere. It is like we are not going there to watch, have fun, and we are there to go and work. So at least the basic facilities they provide in terms of Wi-Fi, in terms of the desks and the tables and chairs and all that, and some refreshments because for a match you have to be out for about say 6-7 hours. If it is a test match or a Ranji Trophy match, it is about being out for 9 hours at the stadium.
Yeah.
So these kind of things, that way they take care of us. But otherwise, the employers take care of the journalists in their own ways.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, I saw a note from Mr. Niband. Sir, would you like to share something on this?
No, it's fine. No, nothing.
Friends,
Because J. Krishnan was fortunate that he got an opportunity to cover 2009 IPL at South Africa.
right.
Because right now, organization not sending anyone due to COVID.
Okay. We have more cricket enthusiastic members over here. Mahesh Bhai, Pavesh Bhai, would you like to add some questions, sir?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. I would only like to know, tell that why the name was, though it is totally for cricket, and IPL doesn't name any cricket activities. When you say any name given to any tournaments, there is the name itself conveys what it is. But in IPL, if nobody knows the cricket, it won't convey anything. It is not IPL. It is Indian Premier League about what? So that I think it is a lacking cricket word that should be there in middle or before P or after P. I don't know. So that the IPL is not the correct word to describe the cricket.
You want cricket in the name, IPL, Indian Premier League.
Yeah, there should be. Yeah, in all the other names
fine.
you will see. Yeah, there is
fine,
a.
but see, IPL is now in its 13th edition, and so much was made about the build up to the first ever IPL that it had to be cricket, because there was an Indian Cricket League. Indian Cricket League.
Yeah, I thought it should contain at least cricket word in that title.
It's fine. So see, for example, if you look at the foreign, the England football, the popular England Football League, it is called just the Premier League. There is no football in it. Or if you look at it, it is just the English Premier League. And football is a popular sport in England. That it is understood. It is there for so many years. So with IPL also, it is, I think, with cricket being the #1 sport, you don't, and I don't know, but it's a very valid point. For example, nobody follows cricket and asks what is IPL, which sport it is. Then
those who are Europeans and all that, those countries don't play cricket, and they should know what it is all about. Anyway, it was up to them to. Lalit Modi must have started. They thought of it before.
Friends, any more questions? No, thank you. Friends, before we go ahead, I would once again like to welcome all the members who had joined after the meeting started, and I would also like to welcome Mr. Saba, who is India Vice President AIPS Asia. Thank you, sir, for joining us tonight. Moving ahead, friends, I invite past President Mahesh Bhai to for an official vote of thanks. Mahesh Bhai.
Thank you, President, for giving me such a pleasurable job to introduce sorry, lot of thanks to our Krishnan ji. Sir, it was an immense pleasure to talk to you about IPL you told, and it was pleasant to listen about IPL matches and all related stories about it. I think you have a very, very deep and vast knowledge of IPL. I think that even Lalit Modi would have come, he would have not talked so much in detail, which you are talking about. And it was
Lalit Modi talks money.
money,
And I'm
yeah.
sure, whoever, the question asked about how much, in terms of tax benefits from the government, or how much revenue loss that BCCI would have occurred if IPL had not
yeah,
happened.
that is another big story about it.
Lalit Modi would have just run through in detail about those questions.
Yeah, that everybody knows now that he has done what harm all to IPL, though he is the father of the this IPL tournament. Thank you very much, sir, for coming to our club and sharing your giving your valuable time. At the same time, I would also like to thank our past president, dear Kishore Parekh, to bring such a esteemed speaker to our club. Thank you very much, sir. Have a good evening.
It's my pleasure, and I thank you for having me today.
Credit goes to Ashwin Shetty, not to Kishore Parekh.
Okay, Ashwin Shetty. Yeah, thanks a lot, and all those who have brought such a esteemed speaker to our club. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for your kind words, and thank you again for having me.
It was really knowledgeable. It was really knowledgeable and interesting. Thank you.